Welcome back to Scott High School, Taylor Mill, Kentucky. Scott Borders along with Dave Borst. Eagles and the Colonels. The Eagles have a 1-point lead at halftime, and they will get the ball to start the second half. Dave Borst, what does need to happen for Dixie, because they completely disappeared in the second quarter?
Yeah, Dixie has to get back to what brought them such success in the first quarter, and that's mixing up the run game. They tried to throw the ball a little bit more in that second quarter. They need to use the weapons they've got, use Jeremy Adams on the quarterback keepers. Wow, another short kick. Scott will have great field position, but
that
use
one,
Bensman and use Diltz out of the backfield.
That one looked almost designed as almost an onside pooch kick, and Scott did the right thing, catch it in the air and fall down, and now they're going to have great field position and a 1-point lead. I tend to agree with you, Dave. It was a 99-yard drive.
Yes.
They mixed it up well, but it was a heavy dose of Adams running the ball. Scott adjusted. Now we need to see what Dixie can come back after halftime by way of adjustment. Scott with the momentum right now. They have the ball at the 46-yard line in pretty good field position. And the first carry is Perrin, who fights his way back to the line of scrimmage, nothing more.
Good job that time by Dixie of kind of shutting off the edge there and not giving Perrin much running room. It was a dead sprint to the sideline, and Dixie got there and did a good job of shutting off the running alley.
So third quarter, 7-6, Scott with the lead. Both these teams looking for win number 1 on the young season. Certainly don't want to start off with 2 losses. We'll have Dixie again in 2 weeks as they play host to an always tough Simon Kenton team.
That will be a fun ball game to watch.
Here's the quick slant on the left side, and it is going to be complete for a first down. So Scott utilizing the slant pattern. Omer's starting to get on target.
Honestly, was that Scott's first pass attempt of the game? I don't recall.
Not their first attempt.
Okay.
It was. They did attempt it in the first half. I believe that was the first completion.
I don't remember them throwing the ball much at all in the first half.
41-yard line of Dixie. Homer in shotgun. Gets the handoff this time. Perrin cuts back. Gets to the middle of the field. Scrambles forward. Close to the first down.
And again, if you've got a weapon like Perrin, why put the ball in the air if you don't have to? Another great patient run by Quincy Perrin that time, setting up his blocks, working off of his blocks, and picking up some good yardage on first down, setting up 2nd and 1.
Well, from the 32 of Dixie, 2nd and 1. Scott back in the gun. Homer again passing the ball, and it is almost picked off for 6.
Oh, Braden Wolfick. He had it in his hands.
Nick Desarn.
Nothing but air and opportunity between him and the goal line. If he'd been able to pick that off.
Boy, he was in a full sprint before he ever gathered that ball in. But, boy, you've got to be careful on those sideline patterns. That's why when they're looking for quarterback talent at the next level, you want to see somebody that can zip the ball to the sideline.
Yeah, Wolfick will be seeing that when he closes his eyes tonight.
Nice carry up the middle is enough for the first down inside the 30-yard line. So they went with the pass, tried something, almost got it picked off, and right back to the ground game. And with a guy like Perrin, why not? And they're to the 27. And again, I think Scott got a little fancy. They gave a different look. I like that. It was an adjustment. Let's show them some pass. We've got it in our repertoire, so to speak.
Yeah.
But when we want to move the ball, let's put the ball in the hands of somebody like Quincy Perrin.
Yeah, give it to your workhorse. And something I just noticed that should terrify a lot of teams around here. Quincy Perrin's only a junior.
Look at this pass. Oh, he had a man wide open, and he put it out there just a little too far. Was that Simpson that was the intended receiver?
I believe so. Yep. Kyron Simpson, number 25. He's the other real weapon that emerged for the Scott Eagles in the first half. And
I'm going to contradict you on something. I cannot see their numbers to save my life on the field.
We were talking about that before the game.
How
much we like the Scott uniforms. And I made the remark that, well, at least you can see the numbers. And you're right. As the sun is dropping, they're getting harder and harder to see.
It is about impossible. All right, so it'll be second down. Handoff comes to the near side, and there he goes. Down to the 10-yard line, and why does anybody else touch the ball?
Just keep feeding your workhorse. He's picking up yardage in chunks. There's no reason to give it to anybody else.
17-yard gain, and an injured player on the ground for Dixie. And Scott knocking at the door in the red zone again. 9:32 to play third quarter. They already have a 7-6 lead. Both teams will go to their respective sidelines. Well, we tend to the injured player. I did not see a number.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's hidden from our view now. They're getting him up to his feet. It's number 5.
And that, of course, number 5, Nick Brown. Nick Brown, one of the better defenders on this Dixie team.
Nick Brown was shaken up earlier on this drive on that run to the near side, the first play of the second half when Quincy Perrin came to the near side for no gain. He collided with a teammate and was a little bit slow getting up then. So it's been a rough drive for Nick Brown. It's good to see the young man walking off under his own power. He looks to be all right. Give him a little rest, and I'm sure we'll see him back out there.
All right, so the ball marked at about the 11. And already the play blown dead, but a flag on the ground. This will probably be against Scott. An illegal formation is my guess.
They will march it off against the Eagles. No,
Nope,
it's going.
waving it off.
Yeah.
Early season penalty-riddled games. This one, no exception.
And it's early season for the officials, too.
Correct. Nifty play, inside handoff, down at the 1-yard line.
Boy, what a great play call.
David Patrick.
What an effective play call right
And then
up
immediately
the gut.
on the line of scrimmage for the short yardage play, quick snap, Perrin breaks the tackle, gets into the end zone. What a smart play.
Great job by the Scott coaching staff. Great call.
Caught you
great
off
execution.
guard, didn't it?
Sure did. I didn't have time to stand up and watch what was going on. Great job by the Eagles of capitalizing on the big run by Patrick and then just feed the Bulldog again and give it to Perrin right up the gut. Ellison on to attempt the extra point. Boy, for a little guy, Ellison has a big leg. It'll be
2
interesting
minutes.
to see if they give him a field goal chance later in the ball game.
2 minutes, 47 seconds, a 9-play drive that spanned 54 yards, capped off by Quincy Perrin, and a 1-yard touchdown run. Extra point good. It is 14-6. Little bit of a surprise, perhaps, brewing about here at Scott High School. Scott, right now, all the momentum, they took it into the locker room at halftime and have carried it out here in the third quarter.
And now if you're Dixie, you've got to answer on this drive. You can't go 3 and out and leave the momentum here on the near sideline with the Eagles. And this is something that we just briefly touched on when it happened in the first half. When Dixie scored the opening touchdown of the ball game, they went for 2 instead of giving Sansone a chance at the extra point.
Now you're forced to.
Now you're forced to go for 2. You're down by 8. So if you score the touchdown here, you don't have any choice.
All right, so the kickoff coming from the 40-yard line. Good drive, as we said by Scott. Low line drive kick, angling towards the sideline, but not close enough to let it go. Good pickup up the middle, but just about to the 20-yard line. In fact, that's where he got to the 20-yard line.
Channing Williams again, a nice return, about an 18-yarder.
So with 9 minutes, 9 seconds left to go here in the third quarter, Dixie will take over from their own 20-yard line, trailing 14-6.
And boy, what a difference in philosophy in the kickoff games between the two teams. It makes you wonder. Sansone is not kicking off either. It does make you wonder if the young man might have picked up an injury in the last week in practice or something.
So the Jets sweep coming to the near side, and again, they had contain all the way on that play is number 4, C.J. Bensman, not equal to the task there.
Nice play by Jared Kelsey, senior middle linebacker, 5'11", 175, making the stop for the Eagles. A 1-yard loss backs him up, makes it 2nd and 11. Good crowd on hand tonight, by the way.
Yes, there is.
We stepped outside at halftime. By the way, that was one of my favorite halftimes that we've ever had. We talk about it. The best stuff happens off air. I wish people only knew.
Carried up the middle. And positive yardage this time on the keeper. And again, that's Adams. They'll mark it at the 24. I'll pick up a 5 on the play, but still a good 6 yards shy of the first down. And a big 3rd down play early in the second half right now for Dixie.
Boy, it sure is. You've got to convert here.
Trips to the top of your screen, the wide side of the field. They're going to go on a wide receiver screen. The ball dropped.
Oh, Williams.
Incomplete.
Tried to run with it before he had it, took his eye off the ball at the last second, and he knew it. And he was going to have a shot at the first down. He had a couple of blockers in front of him.
So Dixie goes 3 and out when they really needed to answer, and are digging themselves a little bit of a hole here. Scott with an opportunity to be the first team to have a 2-score lead in this game if they can capitalize on what should be pretty good field position. The punt is away, and again, a short, high kick. Flag on the play as the ball hits and goes backwards. And they are marking it at about the 43-yard line, but hold everything.
Yeah, that was Desarn, number 12, on the far side, was late getting onto the field for Dixie and never got set. And this one will go against the Colonels, and we'll see what Scott elects to do, if they're going to back him up, make him kick it again, or if they're just going to take the field position. It was right over in front of the official, too. Desarn had nowhere to hide.
I tell you, you're not going to get a whole lot better than that field position-wise. They're going to take this off at the end of the play.
At the end of the kick, yeah.
We'll have to look into that rule. That's not one I'm aware of.
Boy, look at Scott now, 36-yard line, tremendous field position, and a chance to really kind of blow this one open. If they can punch it in the end zone again with the difficulty that Dixie is now having moving the ball, this could be a huge, huge scoring drive if Scott can punch it in, and Dixie's going to take a timeout and talk about it.
So 7:42 left to play third quarter. The ball will be placed at the 37, as we said, of Dixie. And a very, very short field for the Eagles to try to get another score in over the Colonels.
If I'm Scott High School, it's Quincy Perrin left, Quincy Perrin right, Quincy Perrin up the middle, and then we'll see what we do on fourth down if he didn't pick it up on third.
Well, he broke it once. Of course, that got called back. So, again, we said that sent the message. He is definitely capable of breaking off big runs at any time. More important than that, he just chews up yardage. He really does. He finds daylight.
Yeah, he's a very patient runner. I'm so impressed with his patience, the way he sets up blocks. You'll see he'll put that left hand on his lead blocker's back and run very patiently behind him, waiting for that hole to open up, and then boom.
Like his brother, he has speed, but as Nelson kind of used his speed to go north and south, Quincy a little bit more of a deliberate runner.
Yeah.
And he does get the carry. A little high stepping it there, inside the 30, 25, down to the 21-yard line. They'll mark it at the 22. How about that?
What a nice little juke at about the 32-yard line. He put on a Dixie defender and just shook him out of his shoes and picked up another 8 or 9 yards.
15-yard gain. Dixie player on the turf right now. A big number 71 for Dixie, and that would be Keyshawn Wesley, the senior. in a lot of pain, and that could, it's not very hot, but it's a cramp. I mean, anytime they're doing that, you don't stretch it if you think it's a sprain or a break, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's just a cramp. And, everybody says, oh, come on, it's just a cramp. No, they hurt.
Oh, my goodness, they hurt.
It's a painful injury, and you're dehydrated primarily is what happens.
The only people who say it's just a cramp have never had a cramp.
Or have never played football.
Yeah.
It is. It's what they used to call a Charlie horse.
Yes.
Just that whole muscle knots up.
Oh, my goodness. I as a very young kid, I was so active playing baseball or football, whatever was in season. I was outside all day long playing and didn't hydrate the way I should have. I would wake up with Charlie horse cramps when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, and I can remember my mom.
What the heck was going on to you?
I can remember my mom sitting up with me for hours, massaging my calves, trying to get rid of those.
Perrin breaks free. How about that? 22-yard scamper. And again, that same deliberate running style, just looking for daylight. When he broke into the open field, it wouldn't have mattered if that had started at the 1-yard line. Nobody was going to get him there.
Yeah, great run again by Quincy Perrin. And, boy, that one, I realize if he connects the extra point here, it's only 15 points, but that's 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions, but it feels a lot more than that.
Boy, since the second quarter, it definitely has been all Scott. I mean, you look at it, they've been efficient in running the offense just because they've kept it simple, added a little wrinkle at the beginning of the third quarter, but when they needed to move the ball, they put the ball in the hands of number 20, and he, more often than not tonight, has gotten the job done. And again, Dixie showing late in the game some holes in the defense. Now, think about this a second. Dixie has a 99-yard touchdown drive. That's a great way to start a game. You're in the first quarter. It was their second drive, I believe. Great way to start. You've worn the defense out already. You need to keep hammering it. Unable to take advantage. Dixie just a combination of penalties and bad plays, and they haven't been able to get back in the game yet. Now, where we were talking before, a very important series of downs coming up for the Colonels.
Yeah, if you have any prayer of staying in this ball game, and I realize there's 7:19 to go in the third, a lot of football to be played yet, but just based on the way the momentum is going now and what has happened since that initial Dixie scoring drive, if you want a prayer of staying in this game, you got to do something on this drive right here, right now.
3-play, 23-second drive, by the way. Good head of steam coming up the middle and gets close to breaking it. Got out to the 30-yard line, and that is exactly where Dixie will take over.
Nice return by Channing Williams, and a nice touchdown-saving tackle there.
Well, Dixie will have to go 70 yards to hit pay dirt.
That was number 87, Caden Krallman from Scott with the touchdown-saving tackle there.
This time the 3 receivers bunched up to the top of your screen on the short side of the field. The pass comes that way, and it's going to be a good gain up that right sideline out into Scott territory. Let's see where they mark it, but good gain on first down starting from their own 30.
And
it's a 20-plus yard game, but it's a flag on the play.
Ineligible man downfield again. That was just a really nice pitch and catch to Braden Wolfeck. And unfortunately, Dixie, we saw this last week with Campbell County, just when it looks like they've got some momentum going or they've got a good play going, they shoot themselves in the foot with a penalty and start going the wrong way.
Just don't like the idea of success.
Yeah. Having a tough time finding it here in the first couple of weeks.
All right, 25-yard line. So it ends up backing them up 5. Quick pass, similar play, same exact play. It will go for positive yardage, but back to the original line of scrimmage.
Wolfeck again. And that time they're able to execute it without a penalty. It gets them back to the original line of scrimmage, 2nd and 10.
And here's the keeper. Adams up the middle, breaks a tackle.
Ooh.
Rolling forward, that's going to set up a short third down play.
Nice job there. He was the most effective offensive weapon they had in the first half. And if you keep the ball in his hands and let him use that athleticism and get a couple of key blocks out in front of him, he can get you back in the ball game pretty quickly.
So they'll mark the ball here right at the 38-yard line. So a 13-yard gain and a very makeable third in a short 2. 4 wideouts on the play. Here comes the motion man. And a keeper. Does not surprise me. Trying to get wide, it's not going to.
Wow, great job.
Stopped short and very short. Maybe the original line of scrimmage, or maybe back to the line of scrimmage, but no farther.
Jared Kelsey, number 9, had that one diagnosed all the way. He knew that Jeremy Adams, big number 8, was going to take that himself, and why wouldn't he? Again, he's been the best offensive weapon.
The hesitation cost him, though.
Yeah.
That time the hesitation cost him. He does that where he sees where the block's going to develop. By that point, they had contained. So now you're going forward on fourth down. Not a surprise. I definitely agree with Brosser doing it. You pretty much need a score here.
Boy, you got to convert
and I
go
think
with your horse.
Everybody in this stadium knew that play was coming.
Yeah.
And it still goes for a first down.
Yeah, nice.
And I don't blame him for calling it. You're right. You go again. You're Scott. You're going to Perrin. Right now, Adams has been the guy that's moved the ball forward for you if you're Dixie. And that's basically David Brossard saying, you know what? That's what I have.
Yeah.
That's the resource I have right now that's working. I'm going to go with it. First down from the 42. New set of downs. Under 5 minutes in the third quarter. Trips now to the top of your screen. Adams, long snap count. Quick pass to the right. They've been working that play quite a bit. Little hitch pass goes for a couple yards. It's almost a run play. Not quite a wide receiver screen because you're not letting anybody get there. You're basically running 2 of your 3 receivers on that side downfield, and you're cutting your third receiver up under for a quick hitch and hoping he can get downfield.
Yeah, that's Braden Wolfick again. They're bound and determined to get the ball in his hands on this drive.
Right now, you just need positive yards, and I think Dixie completely understands that. I mean, you've got to keep moving forward. You stay ahead of the chains here. Approaching now under 4 minutes, third quarter of action. Dixie under center again. We've seen that before. Handoff to the fullback. Good momentum forward is close to a Dixie first down. Inside Scott territory down to the 48, and that's going to be a first down.
Nice run by C.J. Bensman that time, and you mentioned it.
Gain.
Falling forward with the momentum gives him the first down. Clock still ticking, though. You've only got about 15 and a half minutes.
Well, you score here, it's a new game, and Bensman has a hole right side. Bensman for a first down to the 37-yard line.
Dragging tacklers for extra yardage to pick up the first down. Another hard-nosed run from C.J. Bensman.
Well, so far a 6-play drive. They're very reminiscent of what we saw them do going the length of the field in the first half. Just enough of a mix. Give it to Bensman. Couple of hitch passes. Let Adams on a keeper. Adams under center right now. That makes the keeper less likely. 2 backs in the backfield and an offset eye. Handoff goes to Bensman. This time Scott reads it, but Bensman fights forward, trying to get back to the line of scrimmage, and if he made it, he barely did.
Yeah, they're going to give him a 1-yard loss that time. Nice job by the Scott defense. And
you're right. They had it at the 37, so that'll back him up to the 38.
I was just about to say, before that play, you're Dixie. You've moved the ball on a few consecutive plays. The 2 things you can't afford are negative plays and penalties right now.
Well, we said stay ahead of the chains, and already you're behind the chains now.
Exactly. Got to keep this ball moving forward.
2.5 to play third quarter. There was some movement on the line that did not get called. They give it to the tailback. That's Sears with it. Sears knifes his way through at the good angle, gets out near the 35-yard line. And decent pickup of about 3 yards right there, considering how far he had to run. But
That's one of the nicer 3-yard runs you'll ever see, partner. That was really well done.
But it sets up a 3rd and
there.
long, unfortunately, for Dixie. But still, it's been a great drive. Let's see if they can keep it going from the 35 of Scott. $1:58 left in the 3rd. Dixie marching. But have to convert this 3rd down. We'll see if it's 2-down territory as well here. As moving in motion to the opposite side was Dills. Motion again.
Look out.
Little misdirection.
Double.
It's going to be a sack and a big one.
Jared Kelsey again. Boy, he's having a night on the defensive side of the ball for the Scott Eagles.
All the way back to the 46-yard line. That was a loss they could not afford. Now you're really where it was almost automatic go for it on 4th down territory. Now you got to think about punting the ball.
Yeah, it's just a shame for Dixie. The one thing they absolutely could not afford was a big-time loss on a 3rd and long, and that's exactly what they came up with, and now they're going to have to kick it away.
Kelsey came unabated up the middle. Nobody to block him, and they get the kick away again. Another low-line drive kick. That seems to be the lesson that is learned today, as it's going to get inside the 5. Boy, they could have let that go all the way down to the 1. As it is, it's at the 2.
Yeah, nice play by A.J. Diltz. He could have maybe backed up and stopped that at the 1-foot line, but as you mentioned, they'll have Scott pinned way back in their own territory. With only 53.2 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter, though, if you're Dixie, you got to get a 3-and-out from the Scott Eagles right here, regroup, and try to put together a scoring drive again.
Well, Brossert of Dixie does the right thing again. You have to punt it there. And
you don't have any choice.
Good fortune with a good punt, and now
Yes.
a big defensive play from Dixie, and it could be trouble for Scott as they're going to try to run out of their own end zone and get the outside.
Oh, boy, stiff arm from
Just
Perrin.
missed him. Perrin just dancing
Holy
and
cow.
breaks free. How about Perrin? Gets out of bounds at about the 12-yard line when he should have been stopped, if anything, at the line of scrimmage.
Braden Wolfick had him dead to rights at the 2-yard line, and it was real subtle.
That's
it was
the play
real
Wolfick's
subtle.
going to think about.
Quincy Perrin reached out with that left arm and basically threw Wolfick to the ground and said, "Get off me, I'm not done running yet." Great run by Quincy Perrin.
He does not look like he's put on about 20 pounds of bulk.
He absolutely
if not more.
does. He absolutely. And I
man's
mentioned
hit
it
the weight
before.
room.
The scary thing, he's only a junior.
Yeah.
They got another year with him.
There's the keeper this time. Short gain, maybe a yard, maybe 2. I'm sorry, he got that out.
Out to the 20.
Well, and it was out to the 17. I marked it at the 12. It was to the 17 and a 3-yard gain there. So a 15-yard gain on 1st down as they're going to let the clock run here. We are under 15 seconds, and that'll be 3 quarters in the books. Scott in command, leading 21-6. And a good opportunity, a good drive here, and you can about put this game away.
Yeah. Braden Wolfick, as you mentioned, he's got a couple of plays that he's going to be seeing in his dreams tonight. The pick 6 that he dropped earlier in the game, and then that little stiff arm that Quincy Perrin gave him there on the 2-yard line. And a tough night for Dixie thus far, but you still got 12 minutes.
And
in
fairness to Wolfick, he did the right thing. He kept his head up. He had his shoulders square. He was going in for what would have been a good form tackle.
Yep.
But just a great play by Perrin.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't mean to criticize the young man. Wolfick did nothing wrong on that play, as you said. He was in perfect position, doing exactly what he was supposed to do, and fought off a block
in fact,
to get there.
had contained. I mean, did a good job. It looked like they had him stopped, but that's just the magic that is involved with watching a player like Quincy Perrin.
Yeah, just tremendous athleticism, and we've raved about him all night, and rightfully so. And yeah, that's not the first or the last time that Quincy Perrin will do that to somebody.
No doubt. All right, mark the ball right at the 20-yard line. 4th play of the drive as we start the 4th quarter. The inside handoff goes to Perrin. Fighting up the middle. This time Dixie is there and holds him to a short gain. Out to about the 22. 2-yard gain. Now to bring up third and call it a short 5. About 4.5 yards for a first down.
Really, really important third down right here for the Dixie Heights Colonels.
Yeah, you stop here, you're getting the ball back in pretty good shape.
Yeah, and you've got enough time where you can still punch in 2 scores.
So shotgun formation for Omer. Looks like somebody was in the wrong place, and then they ended up either taking a timeout, which is what they did wisely.
Yes. Yeah.
Coach Dan Woolley comes over and says, nope, y'all screwed this up already. I'm calling timeout.
And Coach Woolley, to his credit, knows how big a third down that is for Dixie Heights as well as his own club, and a very smart call there. His guys weren't where they were supposed to be. Take the timeout. You can't take it home with you anyway.
And how many times do we see teams, especially at this level, when you know somebody went the wrong direction or did something, how many times does that lead to disaster when they actually try to execute that play?
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody won't call a timeout or doesn't think they have enough timeouts or whatever the case may be. You're right. It almost always goes bad.
All right, so you sense the importance of the play, like you said, for Dixie. Scott with the commanding 2-touchdown lead at a 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion lead, really.
Yeah.
All right, here's the snap. A little bit of trickery, ends up being the keeper. It's going to be a first down for Omer. Omer right side, still on his feet, and credit Coach Dan Woolley. He comes out of the timeout with a trick play that's going to go for a first down. And right now, Scott keeping this drive alive. These are the kind of drives that win football games at their own 43.
My goodness. And I think if we had the opportunity to go back and look at that replay, that almost looked like a busted play. It was supposed to be some trickeration in the backfield there, but it almost looked like somebody missed an assignment and
maybe
Omer
it
looked
was,
around.
but it looked like a fake to Perrin, and he spun around, and he certainly took off running and got extra yardage doing it. So from the 43.
Fantastic job.
Handoff now to Perrin as good penetration from the Dixie D will stop that play in the backfield for a loss.
Yeah,
back to the 42, loss of 1, but every little bit for Dixie right now is important.
Nice job by the Colonels that time of sniffing that one out and stringing it out. And holding the powerful Quincy Perrin to a 1-yard loss.
Just a loss of that one. 10:35 clock running left to go in the game as darkness has set upon us here in Taylor Mill. Scott High School hosting Dixie in the lead. See, that was a similar play. Does the spin fake, goes up the middle, good yardage, short of any kind of first down, but out across the 45, close to the 48-yard line, so a pickup of about 6, and another makeable third down opportunity, 3rd and 5 for Scott, leading 21-6 as we're under 10 minutes now.
And again, another huge third down for the Dixie Heights Colonels, and if you're Scott High School, that clock right now is your best friend.
But even then, Scott gets away from their end of the field, so even now Dixie loses the field position battle. And there's the handoff. It's going right side. Boy, they had a chance to stop him short and still managed to tackle him barely short of the first down, which is an interesting position to be in. I kick it away if it's me without even thinking about it, but I certainly understand the thought process of a 4th and short. Dixie goes for it and makes it here. They might be able to salt this game away where it's out of reach for Dixie.
Yeah.
Or said Scott goes for it, they can salt it away. Dixie really needed to stop, but
they needed it back at the line of scrimmage.
They needed it back when they first had him.
Yeah.
And again, credit Perrin for keeping those feet moving. We have a very long delay getting the play in.
I believe Scott's going
to have to burn a timeout, I believe, is what Woolley's going to have to do, and he does.
And I think that was designed. I think that Coach Woolley just kind of wanted to burn off some more clock. Omer was over here talking to him on the sideline and then just walked away toward the far end of the bench. And
learning how to win a game, it sounds strange, but it's very true. You got to learn how to finish games.
Yes.
And these are not, I mean, you're by no means blowing a team out when you're up 21-6, but you're in the driver's seat and learning how to manage the clock, showing your team how to manage the clock, learning how to, they've got a very prolonged drive going. We're already, and they haven't committed a penalty.
Using your timeouts
7
wisely.
And using their timeouts when it's appropriate.
Allowing,
it's just good end-game execution right now for Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. They are doing everything to perfection right now. And if they're able to pick up this 4th down, they're going to quick snap it again.
They run to the line of scrimmage to try to get this 4th down, and they do. It works.
Wow.
Trinity High School in Louisville used to run that all the time, where they would take a short yardage play, run everybody to the line of scrimmage and get that snap off as quick as possible, and you don't give a chance for the defense to get ready. Almost didn't give us a chance to get ready.
Yeah.
And it results in a 1st down.
Second time that Scott has done that tonight, and it's worked both times.
And now they just keep the drive going. I think I've got you strangled, Dave.
Yeah, it's under your legs there for some. There we go.
You got a little slack now. Here's the reverse.
Simpson. Oh,
nice
boy.
Tackle.
Yes, it was.
Still going to be positive yardage, and the tackler took the brunt of it. That was the tackle by number 30, Ryan Roach, and he came up a little gingerly, but
sure
a
did.
2-yard gain out to the 40. We'll mark it at the 43-yard line.
Yeah, Roach got up slowly and trying to shake off the effects of that tackle. Nicely done, but, yeah, he got the worst end of that.
So Scott takes over with 53 seconds left to go in the 3rd quarter, and they have already dug 4.5 minutes into the 4th quarter on this drive.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, the clock right now is their best friend, and they're just going to keep it on the ground. And why
Look
not?
at that. Another stiff arm, Perry for the 1st down and more. On his feet and out of bounds. Didn't want to go out of bounds there, but inside the 30 to the 29-yard line.
Yeah, fortunately for Dixie, Yang Shi was over there to kind of force him toward the sideline. Otherwise, that might have been another touchdown.
Another 14-yard chunk, but the clock running is the way the rules work. It's 7:20 and running. Scott in command, looking to put the exclamation point on what would be their first win of the season, handing Dixie their 2nd loss in a row. And guess what? We have Dixie, like I said, coming up in a couple of weeks. It does not get any easier for them.
No, it certainly doesn't. When you're talking about playing the Pioneers of Simon Kenton, that's always a tough task. But when you go into a game like that, 0-2, that makes it the task even tougher.
So a 3-yard loss as Omeron, the keeper, was swarmed under. And that'll bring up about 2nd and 15. They're going to have to get not quite that far. Mark it
32.
At the 32. They do have to get to the 19. Oh, about 2nd and 13.
And again, Scott, even with a negative play, no rush, let the clock run, bleed as much clock as you can.
I'm as impressed with the clock management in this as I am anything else.
Absolutely. They have done a tremendous job. Somebody has
that might be a
front
delay
there.
a game.
It could be.
It is what it is.
Yeah. They took a little bit too much time.
So here we're congratulating them on their clock management. You didn't want to do that. You never want to go backwards. Oh, little mistake there. 2nd down now as the ball goes back to the 37-yard line.
And, you know, Scott, here's something that I've always wondered about. We see delay a game penalties in high school, but you can almost understand them. You can almost forgive them. There's no play clock out there.
That they can visually
that they can see.
Correct.
That the quarterback can see to hurry his guys to the line. I have never seen a high school stadium with a play clock.
Now, in fairness, as you see the dangerous pass attempt by Ulmer, who almost gets stacked, but it stops the clock at 6:06. I do believe that most officials that I've talked to will try to inform the quarterback if the clock is winding. But then again, a lot of coaches don't want you to do that because you're going to inform the defense.
Yeah. It's something that you know I think As we've got a Scott player injured, and I can't see who that is. Is that Omer?
I didn't see Omer come off, and I don't like speculating because I don't see his number anywhere. That may have been. He was going down and tried the old Brett Favre underhand toss, and it didn't work as I've seen Favre make it work. Tony Romo and Brett Favre are the two best at doing that I've ever seen.
Yeah, they were two guys that you were absolutely certain they were going down. You had them. It was a sack, book it, and all of a sudden somebody's running down the field with the football, and you're looking around going, how did that happen?
Yeah, they're trying out a new quarterback right now as Omer has been on the field an extended period of time. What a rotten thing to have happen in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
6:06 left to play of a game you're comfortably ahead in, not a blowout.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no, I mean, you wouldn't argue that Woolley should have pulled him or anything like that.
No,
It's not that, but just, man, it just makes you shake your head, and this is one of those things you don't want to see.
And he was in some measure of discomfort when he first went down. We're hoping it'll be just a cramp. They're gonna help him off, though. And that's never a good sign, as he's not putting much weight.
Looks like the right leg, yeah.
But Sabian Turner, number 10, will come on as the new quarterback for the Scott Eagles. But I look for just the way Omer is walking off the sideline. He's able to put more and more weight on that leg. I look to see him back in this ball game before.
Actually, I don't look to see him back in this game. I look to see him back. Why risk it at this particular point? You know, at this point, you might want to let Sabian come on, finish off the drive here, and then if you need him after that, that's one thing. But at this point, I think, you're not going to take any chances at all with losing Omer any other extended period of time. You're going to make sure he's okay.
And honestly, that play there was kind of a case of Omer trying to do just a little bit too much.
Correct.
And when you're trying to spin out of a tackle like that, especially on field turf like this, your cleats can catch, you can twist something can pop very easily.
I tell you what, though, they have definitely done a better job with the turf and the way they do it today.
Yes.
And, my high school played in the state championship my sophomore year. One of my good friends on the team who ended up having a great collegiate career, Chris Collins, was also happened to be a sophomore, was our best defensive end. And in pregame warm-ups on the old Cardinal Stadium field, and this is old Cardinal Stadium, not the one they play in now, the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
He took a bad step on that old AstroTurf and snapped his leg before the state championship game.
Oh, boy.
And that gets partially blocked, picked up by Dixie, and Dixie has good field position, 5:22 to play.
And there's Braden Wolfick, who fielded the punt there.
A quick kick kind of play, and Dixie gets a piece of it. The point to all that was the turf today is so much better.
Absolutely.
It's so much more light grass. You are right. It's still designed that your cleats will dig into it, but it's so much better designed than it was in those days.
Oh, goodness.
We lost our starting defensive end before the state championship and lost by 2 points.
I think it was an old Veterans Stadium that players used to complain about so much in the NFL that the AstroTurf in Philadelphia,
One
Old
of
Veterans
many, but
Stadium,
yes,
was so horrible. It actually blew out one guy's both ACLs on the same play when he tried to stop, and his cleats caught in one of the seams.
Long pass is Williams. Channing Williams was in the area, but they weren't. They had two blue jerseys blanketing him. That wasn't going to be something they were going to just let happen. 5:17 to play. Yeah, and that's, we saw that. It was all about the TV in the 80s and in the 70s. It looked great on TV.
Stadiums
and it just was horrible. And then where you really saw it, believe it or not, was in the baseball field that had the AstroTurf on it. A lot of those were, they switched it out for baseball and used the same stadium, which never happens anymore.
Multi-purpose stadiums, the cookie-cutter multi-purpose stadiums.
There were a lot of careers ruined.
Yes, absolutely.
Now here is just a empty backfield quarterback keeper, which gets out across the 45 to the 46, clock running, 5:05 left to play. Dixie, again, needs to have a purpose here. You got to score this first one quick.
Yeah, you're inside 5 minutes now, 4:49 and counting. You don't have the option to take your time and be patient. You've got to have a sense of urgency here, and you got to get it done.
3 wideouts to the near side, 4 wideout set. We're going to run it up the middle again. So they're still letting their playmaker handle the ball in Adams. And I have 100% confidence in that choice, but I don't think he's not a game-breaking type of quarterback. He's not a guy who's going to break off a long run all that often. He'll eat up yardage.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll at the end of the night, his stats will look fantastic because he'll have maybe 150, 175 yards rushing, but he's doing it in chunks of 5 and 6 yards, not 20 and 30.
There's a pass to the far sideline, and that'll stop the clock. 4:09. Close to the first down. I didn't see where he went out. He did get the first down. So Dixie on the move here. So one thing at a time. When you're trying to make a comeback, you can't think about the score. You got to think about getting 6 first.
Yeah.
Then you worry about whether it's a 2-point conversion or a 1. You worry about any onside kick. Here you just got to score. That's your sole tunnel-visioned goal right now.
Yep.
The touchdown.
You are 36 yards away from where you need to be right now.
Boy, Dixie got away with moving early again. The same play nets them another 10 yards. They go out of bounds, call it 9. And I'll bring up 2nd and 1. But again, it only takes a couple of ticks off the clock. So that's a quick play. And again, give a lot of credit to David Brossert. He's got his team now close to the red zone. He ran 2 plays in a total of about 6 seconds that netted 20 yards.
Yeah, they had some good play selection and good execution by the Dixie Heights Colonels on this drive.
And if Scott keeps giving them that, they'll take it. Now here's Williams. Could not get to the sideline, so the clock will run. It is enough for the first down. It'll stop until they set the chains.
It's that little bubble screen again to the near side, and they've been trying to go to that all night, hoping to break one, and they just have not been able to yet.
I think now they're just trying to get the yardage that Scott will give them and get in the end zones. Like I said, there's the tunnel vision focused on getting that touchdown. Adams, good hole.
There
Adams in the open field. Touchdown. Now, it was bound to happen. We just said he wasn't going to break one, and what's he do? He breaks one up the middle for 18 yards for the touchdown. An injured Scott player gives a little more time for Dixie to regroup as they score the touchdown, making it 21-12. And right now, there are all kinds, while we have an injured player, we can discuss this because there are all kinds of schools of thought on this. Most coaches, I think, would agree if you go for 2 now and miss, you're basically taking yourself out of the game.
Yeah.
That being said, a lot of coaches would say, but you know what? If I have to make a miracle comeback, I'd rather know it now and be able to do something about it than, fail at the end of the game. So it depends on – personally, I'm not sure. I think I go ahead and kick the extra point if I can here.
Yeah, I have always kind of adhered to the school of thought that says never go for 2 until you absolutely have to.
Right.
Especially if you have the kicking game that Dixie has had in the past with Sansone. Now, we haven't seen Sansone tonight. We don't know what's going on with that situation, exactly. If he's hurt or if, what that situation is. So they may not have the option. They may have to go for 2.
That was, by the way, Simpson who was shaken up on that play. So
that would be a big
loss. That would be a big loss. He is walking under his own power off the field. That's a good sign. A little bit of a limp.
And they're going for 2. They're going for 2. So Sansone.
This
that
could
just
be
makes
a thing about Sansone. I agree, because a kid like that, you're going to have kicking. So they may decide the game here. Now, that's not saying you can't get 2 scores if needed, but you're putting a lot on the line right here. 3:36 on the clock.
Yeah, they didn't like what they saw.
Boy, those are the kind of timeouts you don't want to have to burn here, though.
Yeah, when you're coming out of a timeout and then you have to burn another one, that's
Now,
That's
this
tough.
also determines what you do. Technically, you could go ahead and kick it deep with 3:36. The problem is you only have one timeout.
Right.
So
Right.
if you and that was if you make the 2-point conversion, you could kick it deep. Now, if you miss the 2-point conversion, you're going for an onside kick no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough when you're coming out of an injury timeout. That's basically a gift. You have the chance to set up the play that you want, and then you set up at the line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden you've got to burn another timeout because maybe you don't have the personnel.
Almost
personnel out
outsmart
there.
your own team there.
Yeah. So you had the free timeout, and then you were able to save your own. Well, now you had to go ahead and spend it anyway, and it leaves you with only one.
So each team only one timeout left, but it's Dixie that needs them. Dixie really, to have a realistic shot in this game, barring a miracle, they really need the 2-point conversion here to get back within the score.
Yeah, you have to convert here if you're the Colonels.
It's going to be, it looks like a keeper the way it's set up. It's a double reverse again. Williams in the middle of the field. Well, I called it wrong, and once again, I'm outsmarted by the coach. As he calls the double reverse and gets the 2-point conversion, and just like that, a brand new ball game at Scott High School, 21-14, and this is where the fun begins because with 3:36 left, even though you only have one timeout, you still could afford to kick the ball long.
Yeah. That was just a tremendously designed and executed play right there. The double reverse on the 2-point conversion. If you saw Channing Williams, he was full speed when he got the football, and as soon as he saw the hole, he cut it inside. He didn't try to outrun anybody to the pylon. He didn't try to turn on the jets and make it a foot race. He just hard right.
They learned from Perrin.
Yeah, exactly. Hard right and into the end zone. Nicely done.
Williams clearly is the team's returner on kickoffs. He's probably the fastest guy on the team.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the 40s, but looks pretty fast to me.
Yeah. He's showing some wheels tonight for sure.
Well, they are setting up for the onside. The way he is setting the ball on the tee indicates that they will go ahead and go for the onside here with 3:36 left. You might say why, but either way, you would have to stop them if they get the ball. Here you at least have a chance to get it, so it's not a bad kick, but they move too quick.
Yeah, it's going to be offside. And, again, without Sansone, their kicking game is we've seen it on the kickoffs that they've had tonight. They've been short. They've been angled toward the sidelines, so they don't even have the ability to kick it deep. So you might as well go ahead and try the onside kick, and if it doesn't work, then, hopefully your defense can find a way to hold them. Now Diltz is coming off the field, and they're going to try to kick it away again. Is that Sansone now? That's number 19. I don't have a 19 on my roster.
Cal Hawkins, a freshman. Interesting. He's definitely particular about how he's setting it up.
And he kind of fooled his own teammates there. I think they thought he was approaching the ball to kick it.
Yeah, that's just another one. That's not going to make it 10 yards.
No, that's going to be well shy of the 10-yard mark.
And it finally falls dead, and the official blows the whistle. So not a bad idea.
No.
Not
again,
well executed, but
again, with your kicking game is crippled.
And again, I cannot be critical of Brossard. I think that's the right move. Either way, you have to stop them 3 times if they retain possession.
Yeah.
Granted, you're farther down the field, but one thing at a time. Let's give yourself a chance, and that's what he tried to do.
And look who's back at quarterback for Scott High School.
Well, you called it. This is not what I would have done, but again, the context of the game has changed.
Right.
It's a one-score lead right now.
When you said that, they were up by 2 scores, and I would have agreed with you totally.
A little too aggressive is Dixie, and another 10-yard gain. You saw that blitz coming right up the middle. Perrin is so fast, you're basically inviting him to get around the corner, and that's what he did.
And the smallest guy on the field, again, comes up huge for Dixie, and A.J. Diltz as he made the touchdown-saving tackle. and it took Perrin on by
Made
himself.
the first down saving tackle
Yes.
and an open field man-on-man tackle.
Took him down by himself, no help.
Because it's still just second down, second and short. Anything can happen. You could have a penalty here. You could get some good penetration like the defense did there, and now you got third down all of a sudden.
Boy,
Clock running at 2:47, and
this becomes
Dixie
huge.
making it interesting. Now, knowing that Dixie's bringing that pressure up the middle, I'm not sure I run right up the middle either.
Yeah.
You got a wide side of the field, use it.
Yeah, maybe you pitch this one out to is Simpson back in the game? Kyron Simpson, number 25. Everybody in the stadium thinks it's going to Perrin, and they're probably right.
I'm not sure at this point. I wouldn't give it to him anyway. Yep,
Right.
That's what they're going to do. And he dances forward. Boy, he is close, but did not make
Short,
it.
a yard short. Nice stand by Dixie.
So Dixie
Wow.
burns its timeout with 2:14. Now, if you're Scott, you're still probably going for it here, I would think.
I would think so, yeah, because you're deep enough in Dixie territory that if you don't make it, you've still got they're still going to have to go a fairly long ways.
You know what's coming here now.
7 yards.
You know, I don't know if Coach Woolley will do it, but most teams will come out and give you a long
hard
count and either
and then burn your
and then burn
last
their
time
timeout right before it becomes
or take the delay of game
Yeah.
and try to pooch kick it and pin them down to the goal line.
But you know,
either way,
the advantage is all on Scott because knowing that, Scott comes out and the first thing the coach is telling them before they get on the field is don't move, don't move,
Right.
don't move.
Hold your
well,
water.
guess what? If Scott comes out and snaps the ball quick, they've got an immediate advantage
yeah.
because you've got a frozen defense and all you're talking about is a yard here. So
Here we go.
I may hard count it and then snap it. We'll see.
Quick snap again.
Nope, that's what they do, and it's
they
going to be
moved.
motion.
They moved.
They blew it.
That play has worked to perfection twice tonight, and when they really needed it to work here on a 4th and 1, somebody moved, and it's going to cost them 5 yards, and boy, this changes things.
I like what Dan Woolley did. Again,
Yeah.
noting that they're being told not to move, you get that immediate surge off your offensive line. That probably goes for a first down.
Yep.
As it is, they make the mistake.
It was a great call. It was a great call by Dan Woolley. It was just poorly executed by his team when they absolutely needed to execute it. They've done it twice tonight to perfection.
Let's see what Scott's got in their bag of tricks now. It's 4th and about 6. Dixie an opportunity to get the ball back in what would be an improbable twist of events here tonight because you were about ready to put the final lump of dirt on Dixie and bury it.
You hesitate to say this in the second game of the season, but this play right here could set the tone for the rest of Dixie Heights season. If they can make a stop here and somehow go on to win this ball game, this play right here could be the one that turned the season around.
I said these are certainly things teams somewhere down the road look back at and say, oh, if we had just done this that game, or, man, imagine we pulled that big win out. You're right. Getting ahead of ourselves. Right now, Scott could get the first down.
Boy.
It does!
Helmets go flying. A.J. Diltz was there trying to make the hit to stop.
That's just good old smash mouth. Run it right into the defense football at a full head of steam. That's what they did. They went with their power run, and they got the first down. David Patrick, number 12.
The senior.
What an impression. He came off.
And he's
a little woozy.
He's not sure that he's still in Taylor Mill right now. He's shaking his head trying to get the cobwebs out.
That is just smash mouth football,
Yes.
giving it yourself up, and that gets the win, barring any kind of a turnover here. Scott should move on to their first win of the year on a big 4th down play.
And we heard that collision all the way up here in the press box.
Perrin with that stiff arm again. Dixie's having none of it that time. Ball came loose at the end, but I think they had blown it dead. The problem is you can't stop the clock here.
That's the thing. All that's doing is taking some rushing yards off of Perrin's stats for the evening. It's not really helping you.
Depending on how quick the ball gets set, et cetera, There still may be time left on the clock if they get it to a 4th down. I don't think so. Let's see how much they can take off here.
Well, Dixie's out of timeouts anyway.
Yeah, you're not going to stop it. Yeah. So, barring and even a penalty just stops the clock momentarily.
Yeah, this one is I think and there's a penalty flag right there. That'll probably be a delay, and it will. But again, it doesn't hurt Scott that much. They're 58.2 seconds away from taking this one to the house.
See, I think this is a place in football where the clock needs to remain dead. And it will. Okay, that's what I thought.
And they will set up in victory formation, knowing that Dixie cannot stop it. They'll have to snap it one more time.
That should be enough because there was under a minute. Ball is set now, so that starts the play clock, and that should mean one more snap.
Omer all the way over here on the near sideline.
And in fact, like you said, all Dixie has to do is take the penalty now. Or I'm sorry, all Scott has to do is take the penalty now. So, barring, again, some unforeseen circumstance, Scott should go on to their first win of the season. But it was a fun game. Dixie with a good comeback here in the second half. Scott had to come down to a 4th and 5 conversion by the senior Patrick before they could win it, and that should do it. Scott goes on to their first win of the season, and it's a big one here at home as they defeat Dixie 21-14. We'll be back in 2 weeks to see Dixie as they play host to Simon Kenton. Unfortunately for David Brossard's team, it does not get any easier, and Scott, of course, coming off a shutout loss last week. Next week, they will have right here in this stadium, Holy Cross.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting ball game. Holy Cross is coming off a couple of years that I think they'd like to forget, and we'll see if they can turn things around this year. But Scott showed me some things tonight, and credit to Coach Brossard and his Dixie Heights Colonels. They did not quit in this ball game. They didn't quit last week.
No.
When they were getting pounded by Campbell County, they kept fighting, they kept competing. They're going to win a couple of ball games this year simply because of that. That never say die attitude that they have. They fought their way back into this one when it looked like for all the world that Scott was going to bury him, and they didn't allow that to happen. So that's something they can build on. And as you said, the road only gets tougher from here, and we'll see what they're made of. But a big win for the Scott Eagles to get even on the season at 1-1.
So congratulations to Dan Woolley and their squad. That is all for us from Scott High School. For David Borst, for Jason Dudas, for CM Brown, this is Scott Borders saying so long from Taylor Mill. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Again, the final score, 21-14, Scott over Dixie.